These robbers are so pathetic that it is funny to watch them fail. From getting beat up by grandma to fleeing from a guy with a sword and getting stuck inside stores, these robbers messed up in the most epic way possible.
Okay, everybody, come close to your TV screen and check out this fool down in Georgia.
Join us today as we watch the silliness of would-be robbers getting wrecked by the store owners. UNO reverse. How the turntables. This masked intruder strides into the store, a familiar target for robbery. But this time, as he approaches the counter with his empty bag, the tables turn. In a bold move, the shop owner whips out a gun, flipping the script like an UNO reverse card. Now it's the robber's turn to raise his hands in surrender. Fearlessly, the shop owner aims the gun at the thief, commanding him to get down, place his hands behind his back, and stay like that until the cops arrive. This man clearly has had enough of thugs causing him losses. Cell phone store standoff. You see that dude in a beanie? Looks like any other casual shopper browsing phones in a cell phone store, right? But hold up. This casual shopper whips out a bag and pulls a gun on the store owner. Instead of panicking, the owner plays it cool and even offers the guy a phone to take and dash. But nope, this thief's eyes are on a bigger target. He wants the whole treasure chest. He hops the counter, pushing the owner towards the back office, probably dreaming of a fat, safe stash. As the owner starts loading up the thief's bag with cell phones, you might think he's just trying to save his skin, right? Wrong. He's biding his time, waiting for the thief to let his guard down. And there is the slip-up. At the register, the thief gets distracted by the cash and bam! The owner makes his move, tackling the thief down and landing a few choice punches. In this scuffle, the owner also manages to get hold of the gun. But the drama doesn't end there. Our store hero breaks free, dashes out of the store entrance, and holds the door, preventing the thief from leaving. The thief barrels out again, but the owner runs for the door, blocking his escape and taking him down again. In the end, the thief slips away, but empty-handed and without his gun. Score 1 for the good guys. Guns are hard to handle. Now, this clip has to be one of the most hilarious robbery attempts ever. A guy enters into the e-cigarette shop and whips out his gun to pull off the heist of the century, only to fumble it right over the counter. Struggling to hop over the counter like some kind of clumsy acrobat, he finally realizes it's a lost cause and bolts back out the door. Oh, and did you catch that? His pants decided to join in on the chaos and took a nosedive too. Not only did this guy manage to bumble his way through an attempted robbery, but also left behind some primo fingerprints on the glass for the cops. Trapped. Two dudes stroll into the phone shop with their faces partially covered by holding pieces of cloth against their faces. Tommy, the store employee, squints in confusion until he spots the telltale glimmer of a gun. And just like that, it all clicks. His hands shoot up faster than a sprinter off the blocks. With the door firmly shut, the thieves take Tommy to the back and ask about the treasure trove or the safe packed with all the Galaxy cell phones. These guys are aiming high, aiming for the stars, but Tommy's not about to stick around for this rodeo. Spotting an opening, he slips away through the back door, conveniently linked to the neighboring travel agency. Meanwhile, outside, our hero Tommy finds an unexpected ally. A good Samaritan decides to take the law into their own hands and slams down the security gate, trapping the bumbling burglars inside. And just like that, it's a full-on spectacle, with onlookers gawking and recording the scene like it's Oscar-worthy drama. In a frenzied panic, the trapped duo resort to desperate measures, trying to bust their way out like caged animals. But when all else fails, they turn to an old standby, the trusty toolbox. Armed with a wrench and fueled by desperation, they shatter a window and make a break for it, but were eventually caught by police later. Saloon savior. A robber saunters into a saloon, acting all chill as he heads for the register. But our gutsy lady behind the counter isn't having any of it. She bolts out of the shop, frantically waving at someone. Meanwhile, the robber struggles to pry cash from the register, resorting to tossing it on the floor in frustration. As he gathers the scattered bills, preparing to make his getaway, bam! The cops swoop in, right on cue. It turns out the lady had spotted them nearby and sprinted to fetch them. Talk about timing, huh? Justice served, thanks to one sharp-eyed lady and a perfectly timed intervention. Chord chaos. If I was this guy, I would be embarrassed for life. The robber goes for the donation box, but it's fixed. Yeah, that's low. So, he grabs the laptop and attempts a getaway, but the sturdy cord yanks him back, causing him to tumble. Then, like a hero in the spotlight, the day manager swoops in, grappling with the guy as he struggles to escape. With a swift move, the manager pins him down and instructs another employee to call for backup. A bad escape plan. It does not get more pathetic than this robbery attempt. A young guy strolls into the jewelry shop and asks to check out some gold chains, tries a few on, and acts like any other customer. Feeling confident, he tries to slip away from the counter unnoticed, but the owner doesn't seem bothered. In a rush to make his getaway, he heads for the door, only to find it locked tight. That's when it hits him. The door was locked from the moment he walked in, explaining the owner's calm demeanor. He picked the wrong shop to pull off his heist. The way he just gives up and returns the chain is just priceless. Locked up before arrest. This hooded-up guy thought he could pull a fast one, but fate had a different plan. The manager's initial calm fades as she clocks his intentions. He demands she open something, but she calmly refuses, ushering out other customers. Meanwhile, as he's busy snatching stuff, he does not realize that things are about to turn bad for him. When the robber reaches the door, it's locked tight, trapping him inside. Props to the shop manager for ensuring he's the only one locked up and no hostages are taken. Growing irrational, he whips out a gun and fires at the door lock, but that does not work at all. He kicks, he jumps, but that door's sturdier than he thought. By the time the police arrive, the robber has already gone through the 5 stages of grief. Just another reminder of, if you are afraid of doing time, then stay far away from crime. A second chance. This store owner has a big heart. A young lad strolls into the phone shop, asking the owner for 2 phones to compare. Once he's got them in hand, he bolts, but the door is locked tight. Embarrassed, he sheepishly returns to the counter, handing back the phones and claiming his friends forced him into it. But the merciful shop owner decides to give the lad a chance at redemption. Instead of calling the cops, she lets the almost robber go free, hoping he'll choose a better path next time. Beaten by grandparents. This ski-masked robber thought he could intimidate someone's grandparents with his gun, but instead, he got a beating from grandma's bag. I guess you are never too old to get a whooping from grandma, even if she isn't your grandma. Inept Heist. Sometimes it's not about the wrong shop, but rather the criminal's sheer incompetence. Watch as this man hops over the counter, chasing the clerk at a jewelry shop, while his 2 accomplices enter. It seems they either forgot the plan or had none at all, just winging it. One of them holds the door open, knowing they'll be locked in if it closes, but then decides to join the other in grabbing jewelry. And you guessed it, the door locks. As panic sets in, the clerk seizes the opportunity and slips out the back door. They start pulling and pushing, but one realizes they need to find the button to open the door. After some fumbling, they manage to open it. Here comes the funniest part, though. When the first one near the door runs out, it closes again behind him. He just left these two behind. Then, Blue Jacket again presses the button for the other robber, who also runs out without holding the door. Something tells me these guys are not the sharpest tools in the shed. Left stranded, the one in the blue jacket pounds his fists on the door until some unwitting passerby opens it for him. Bungled standoff. Two armed robbers storm into the convenience store late at night, intent on their mission. However, the clerk refuses to surrender. Mid-heist, he escapes and barricades the door with a bench, trapping the thieves inside. He keeps them at bay single-handedly. And then, in a panic, the robbers finally discover the door is glass and try to break it with a pickaxe. But their realization came in a bit too late. Cops are already here, ready to give these guys a free ride to the prison. A hasty surrender. Next, a classic example of being in the wrong place at the wrong moment. The thief walks into the shop and demands cash from the clerk at the mobile phone store. But what he does not know is that the police are prowling close by. As he collects the cash and turns, the police swoop in. It does not take long for the reality to dawn on him. Realizing there's nowhere to run, the robber surrenders. What great timing by the police. An epic takedown. Acting all casual in the tech shop, this lad has a heist on his mind. He tries to nab something from the shelf, but before he can bolt, one of the shop owners leaps into action. He goes over the counter and onto him, taking him down in a flash. Next, the other owner joins in to ensure this guy doesn't get away. That's one way to take a robber down, I guess. Boxer boyfriend. This criminal forgot the research phase of the heist and paid for it. This robber expected to confront just the cashier at the store, but turns out there was someone else there too. The cashier's boyfriend, a state champion boxer, emerged unexpectedly. He swiftly grabbed the robber, landing punches and holding him until the police arrived. The robber's mugshot speaks volumes. Never threaten a fighter's girlfriend. Ignored. Of all the reactions to being robbed, this one has to take the prize. This employee in New Zealand couldn't care less about a robber when he's busy dealing with his customers. Watch how this masked robber, armed with a gun and a handbag, demands compliance, but the employee pays him no attention. Instead, he continues serving the customers. If anything here is being robbed, it's the thief's self-esteem. Realizing he's being ignored, he just up and leaves. Weirdest robbery ever. Snack bandit. Check out this guy, blending in like any other shopper at the local convenience store. But don't be fooled. He's got a whole different agenda. He casually unzips his trusty blue bag and starts loading it up with snacks. And just like that, he strolls out like it's a daily routine. But here's the kicker. This dude's been pulling off this same stunt for nearly a year straight. They even dubbed him Gatorade Man because of his obsession with that sports drink. Every week he marches in, collects his booty and walks straight back out, as if he owned the place. But one day, karma catches up with him. As he's about to make his grand exit, the clerks decide to lock the doors, trapping him inside. Now this guy's in a tight spot. The clerks hit the panic button, and the cops are on their way. But does he sit tight and wait? Nah. He starts kicking, pushing, and pulling at the doors like a man possessed. After a comical struggle involving a lot of jumping and cursing, he finally manages to bust through the plexiglass and make an escape. He won't be back, that's for sure. Caught in the act. Watch these two would-be bandits get the worst luck of their lives. With the finesse of a circus acrobat, they hop over the counter with hands reaching for the cash register. Just as they're about to make their grand heist, something goes wrong. Little did they know, they couldn't have chosen a worse day, time, or place for their attempted robbery, as the police show up at the entrance of the shop, putting an abrupt end to their plans. Caught red-handed, what else can they do except to surrender? Blade blunder. I mean, seriously, bringing a weird weapon to work? Did we just stumble upon a real-life Dwight Schrute? Check out these two guys who thought they could terrorize a store with a machete. But the joke's on them when the clerk pulls out a sword twice the size of their puny little blade. The aggressors quickly rethink their life choices and bolt for the door, realizing they are way out of their league. BMW Blitz. These two wannabe thrill-seekers thought they would add a twist to their usual routine and drove a BMW SUV straight into the Apple store late one night. While one of them hops out and starts collecting as many iPhones and iPads as he can, the driver tries to reverse out of there. But oh no, reverse isn't working. Okay, maybe a bit further back. But dang, that door is tougher than it looked. After a few more failed attempts, they finally managed to break the door. Spray defense. This guy was outgunned and did not care. He defended his store with pepper spray against would-be thieves. What a legend. Father-son duo. When one of the two robbers decides to hop over the counter to steal goods from the shop owner's son leaps into action and grabs him, with his father right behind him. Taking on an armed robber is gutsy but risky, especially when they are armed. Thankfully, the gunman doesn't open fire, and both robbers try to make a run for it. However, the father and son duo are relentless. After a tough struggle, one robber manages to break free and escape. Sandwich Savior. In an updated version of Dine and Dash, this guy snatches a sandwich from the cashier and bolts. The employee gives chase, and a passerby outside spots the fleeing man, assists by tripping him over, and helps retrieve the precious sandwich. Jewel Rush. A group of masked crooks storms into the jewelry shop with one smashing glass like he's in a stress room. His accomplices quickly scoop up valuables. It seems like a perfectly executed plan until the employee starts shooting. The robbers seem not to have the guts to actually be in a standoff, so they panic and try to run away. They are lucky they escaped with their lives. Embarrassing fail. Looks like a calm afternoon at the nail salon, right? But things take a wild turn when the salon becomes the target of an attempted robbery. But wait, everything still seems calm, even after the man pulled out the gun. The robber in the blue hat yells for everyone to get down, but everyone appears unfazed. He demands money, but nobody responds, as if they don't understand what he's saying. And the cashier? What a champ! He's unbothered, casually talking on the phone. The robber keeps yelling for money, but nobody seems to care. After a moment, he realizes how pathetic his attempt was and just walks out. After that failed attempt, I feel kind of sorry for this guy. Cowboy Capture. A young lad walks into the store brandishing a gun and pointing it at the Mexican cowboy. Never a good idea to attack a cowboy. When the robber turns his back, the cowboy grabs him from behind and disarms him. And while they are struggling, in comes a butcher and quickly grabs the gun. Here comes the kicker. The robber finally gets away from the cowboy and makes a run for it. But all hope is dashed when another butcher runs in and grabs the robber. These employees are great at teamwork, bringing an armed robber down like that. A DriveThru Dilemma. Being bad with technology can come to bite you in the ass if you are a robber. When this guy pointed his gun at the drive-thru window, the cashier and other employees swiftly evacuated, leaving him alone with the cash register. Witness how he embarrasses himself, struggling to operate the computer connected to the cash register. I mean, look at this man hanging out of the McDonald's drive-thru window, clueless about the technology. After a while, he realizes he is too dumb for this and finally gives up. Perhaps he'll come back after watching a tutorial on how to operate these things. Hard Hat Heist. Now we have a typical movie-style heist where the crooks come into the shop disguised as workers, sporting vests and hard hats. One of them distracts the owner by asking him to sign some form, but as soon as the owner catches on, he whips out his 9 iron. Instead of Rolex watches, they had to watch out for their lives and bolt. Smart choice. Smash and flee. This entire shop trembled as the car reversed into the glass wall of the jewelry store, sending shockwaves through the establishment. The car lurches forward, then reverses again. It smashes into the shop and creates an opening for the robbers. Once the vehicle is halfway in, they gun the engine, propelling the car out of the shop and allowing the masked thieves to enter. With ski masks concealing their faces, one of the robbers pulls out his gun, while the other swiftly fills their bags with precious jewels. But this is where the store owner does the wildest thing ever. He pulls out a frigging sword. Yup, this guy brought a sword to a gunfight. And guess what? He won. The robbers fled, seeing the guy running at them with a sword. Well, folks, have you ever had a run-in with muggers? Or perhaps you know a story where the robbers ended up regretting their decision to target someone. Share your experiences with us in the comments below. But hey, don't think the fun stops here. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. Until next time, keep enjoying life and stay safe out there.